Hi, I'm Robert Schlide, Chief of Police for Shelby Township, and welcome to Straight Talk. With us today is Captain Patrick Barnard. Captain,
Chief,
welcome to the show.
Thank you.
We had our big awards ceremony the other night at Palazzo on Monday, and what were your thoughts?
The award ceremony is such a big deal for our department. It's the one event each year where we can get our department members together, their families, and kind of brag on them a little bit with the awards that they earn throughout the year. And the way the award ceremony is set up, our officers, when they do something that garners recognition from their peers or their supervisors, they're recognized with a process of writing up the award and then having us review them and actually sign off on them. And at the end of the year, we have the award ceremony. A lot of departments have award ceremonies. We certainly had ours back in the day, but it certainly has grown into a special event for our particular department. And you look back at what we used to do. We used to have these award ceremonies in a small hall, and it was really we did the best we could back then, and we would write up these awards and present these awards in a small auditorium with pizza and 2-liter bottles of Coke, and to see where it is now as compared to what it was back then. It's grown into something that we're really proud of, and we're really able to have the families of our officers come in and kind of explain what they do and recognize them for the work that they do. And a lot of times the families just don't have any idea, so it's a great idea. It's a great event to have them all in one place, and we get to highlight our officers and what they do in a year's time.
This award ceremony, I've only been here for a little bit over 8 years, and I had some of the vision of what I wanted it to be, and I had no knowledge of your experience. What you guys had was better than what we had in Southfield. The shift lieutenants would pass out the awards, and let's face it, some of the work that some of the officers do, all over the place, Shelby Township, wherever, is extraordinary, and it should be recognized. And I had an incident myself back when I worked in Southfield where I caught these guys that did a fresh robbery murder of someone. There was 5 people involved, and they set this guy up and robbed him and murdered him. And I remember that my chief and deputy chief at the time, I was shift lieutenant, never even acknowledged me. They never said one word, and I thought to myself, if I'm ever in a position of authority, that I'm going to make sure that when officers do a good job, that they get recognized.
Well, I think it's really important. One thing that we're, as a police department or police officers in general, we do things on a daily basis just under the cover. It's our job. It's our job to go out and seek out these individuals, to arrest them, to investigate things, get involved in some dangerous situations. And we just kind of shrug our shoulders and say that's what we do, and that's true. But I think that we're always, and I think we're doing a real good job of recognizing that's, it's not surprising in what our officers do. That that's the expectation, that's the standard that they put on the uniform and the shield, and they go out and do a very difficult job day in and day out. But I think one thing that we should always be working towards is recognizing that though this is their job description, it's really amazing work. It involves courage that most people just will never really understand. For our guys to go out and put themselves between the victims and the suspects and go aggressively investigate these crimes and put themselves in situations that normal people don't do that. It's really unique to law enforcement, and we should always be looking for ways of not only acknowledging it but celebrating it, because it's pretty incredible when you read the listing of awards that we had this year and what our officers did, whether it was life-saving awards, actually saving somebody's life, dealing with violent felons, bringing them to jail. It's no small feat, and sometimes we just we just kind of shrug our shoulders and say that's what we do, and we should always be looking at recognizing that.
I couldn't have said it better what you just said. Some of the work that I saw myself through the course of the year acknowledged on that night is truly remarkable. Now, we did have an official MC, our own Shelby TV and Channel 4's Nick Monticelli did a great job, but I had a few times where I grabbed the mic and I wanted people to know, like, this is extraordinary work they've done. And then I had a couple other times where I wanted to grab the mic and I didn't because I didn't want to be running up there. But the work that our officers are doing is literally extraordinary. We had a couple big life-saving incidences where people were choking and like literally going to die, and two of our officers jumped in at different occasions and saved their lives. And and then the big one that we did our own special little meet and greet was we had a young man that decided he was going to harass his wife. They were having problems, and he was threatening her. And she actually went back home with her mom and dad, and to stay safe. And she said, "I'm afraid of him. He's got guns in the house, and he's unstable." And sure enough, he showed up over at the in-laws' house, threatening her. Our officers were out there.
Officer Bocci.
Yep, our officers were out there, and we told him to leave and take off. And Officer Bocci felt uncomfortable. And he says, something's wrong, and I just don't like this. And why don't you fill us in on the rest of the details?
Well, in that, that's a real good example. Officer Bocci, after being involved with that, just had, his coply intuition, his spidey sense was tingling that there might be more to something like that. And so he stuck around. And because he did that, what would have happened? What would have happened if he wasn't there? That guy came back. That guy had a plan, and that's just one of those things that when you hear about it, you're so proud of the officers when they're self-managed and self-motivated. They have their own patrol car. They have time that they can do whatever they want. The easiest thing in the world would have been to just go out, leave that scene, call clear, and drive away. He was self-managed to listen to, what was ever telling him to stick around. And because of that, he interrupted what could have been a horrible situation. And that's a good example. He was there. He saved the day. He himself did that. We do a lot of things together, and we send multiple officers to calls. But it's the individual that recognizes a situation as being off, and that puts himself back in that situation. And because of it, this woman was saved from, who knows what would have happened. But he interrupted it, and that's a big deal.
Remarkable, outstanding work. We're so proud of Officer Bocci for what he did. Overall, I think we do a great job of recognizing our officers, of appreciating them, letting them know how much we value them and supporting them, and that's the big night we do it. Our team behind the scenes, the ladies that work, get everything ready. You want to comment on that, sir?
Well, we go and have this event, and it goes off, pretty much flawlessly. And this is one that we're repeating year to year, and even today we had an after-action review of that to see how we can make improvements for next year. And it's a round robin of anybody that wants to say anything towards making it better. And we take those things and we give it to our administrative staff, and they do such a great job of organizing and putting things together, laying things out in such a way that it comes off that way. It comes off as flawless. It comes off like, someone put pen to paper and organized this in such a way. And, they have such a strength towards that, which would be, something that wouldn't be mine. And thank goodness that they care enough and have plugged in enough. They're very proud of this award ceremony because it's been repetitive each year and becomes bigger and better. And when people plug in like that, you can count on things going pretty good.
Well said. I couldn't agree more. Let's see what Shelby TV has in store for us. They were at the ceremony. They have some great footage. Let's take a look at it now.
Left.
present arms.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming?
Each year, the Shelby Township Police celebrate the outstanding work of the individuals within the department.
This ceremony was put in, believe it or not for the officers. I don't want to hurt any officers' feelings. This is put in for your families. And we want to show you how much we appreciate your loved ones.
I want to thank you all for what you do. You know, it's not an easy job, and we depend on you. And I want you to know that it's not really the Board of Trustees, it's the taxpayers who really want law and order in this community. And that's what they get because of all of you in this room.
The 2022 award presentation began with a variety of recognitions, including meritorious awards, letters of commendation, and second-degree life-saving awards.
For his consistent above and beyond performance he demonstrated each year, Officer O'Neill is presented with the Chief's Award.
20 years, Dennis Washburn. He's answering the calls, keeping the kids safe, watching the buses.
In addition, years of service coins were presented to recognize employees ranging from 5 to 35 years of service to the department.
25 years, Captain Pat Bernard. He's responsible for the day-to-day operations of the police department. He's got his finger on the pulse. And that pulse, he answers his phone 24/7, 365. He gives everything he has.
Deputy Chief Schmittler is a leader of men, if I've ever seen one in my life. In my 36 plus years, I don't think I've ever worked with a man like this that has all the skills, all the tools, where he's been the real police before, he's respected by everybody, but he's got the administrative skill every day to make our police department hum, and that's exactly what it does. Jason, congratulations on your 30 years. I could sit up here all night and talk about Patty. I'd let you play music in the background while I was doing it, so I didn't, you know, you guys want to move on with your night. But once again, I've never seen an employee like this. She takes care of everything and everybody. She looks out for the officers, for the young officers. She is the Shelby Township Police Department. Patty, this is on behalf of everybody here. We love you. Congratulations. For the 35 years and 37 years with the township. Congratulations.
Officer Alec Hanser received the 2022 Patrol Officer of the Year.
Go ahead.
Are you arresting me?
Yes, sir.
He's out constantly digging, trying to catch bad guys. We have different crews that are coming into the township now with impunity, stealing and ripping off cars and ripping off parts of cars and Cadillac converters. And Alec is our #1 officer right now, obsessed with catching these people.
When I was named Officer of the Year, I was surprised. I was excited, but I felt honored that they nominated me. I come in and I work hard every night, and it's nice to be recognized for that.
The 2022 Detective of the Year was presented to Philip Young. Detective Young is an undercover detective, therefore we will not show his face.
He's another one who has a niche, and his niche is these organized retail fraud crews. All the big box stores, management and surveillance crews know Phil personally because of his commitment to catching these people. He's so proud in his work. I'll be home sitting around 7 o'clock on a Friday night, text me, I just took down a retail fraud crew, they're ripping off Home Depot or whatever it may be, and this is constant. So he's got his finger on the pulse of these crews. He cares, he's committed. For a 20-some-year veteran to have this type of motor on him, it's greatly appreciated. It's also a great way to demonstrate for our young officers how you should be behaving, and he does that.
Wendy Davis was presented with the Non-Sworn Employee of the Year as she has made her mark in the department.
Wendy was selected because of her professionalism, her dedication to the police department, her total overhaul of our records management, which she was placed in charge of over the last year.
The people here, everyone's like a family, so we always support each other, and if somebody's struggling with something or needs help with a project, everyone kind of chips in and works together to make sure that we get it done and get it done correctly.
She's one of those employees that are once in a lifetime.
Shelby 911.
The Communication Technician of the Year was presented to Kira Brown.
Yep, I'm putting the call in and my partner's getting him on the way, but can you still see him?
Comtech operators are truly our lifeline between an emergency and the help we need.
Our Comtechs are communication technicians. They dispatch for police and fire.
I never know what people are going to say to me when I answer the phone. Without us, you wouldn't have police and fire. They can't just magically show up. So we play an important part that nobody really knows happens.
I couldn't be more proud of her. I want you to know that. She's a team member. She's respected by all of us. She's valued, and we love having her here.
The finale of the night was emotional as the department bestowed the 2022 Command Officer of the Year award to Sergeant Dan Cammerzell. Sergeant Cammerzell passed away while on duty last year, and the loss to the department has been tremendous.
He was selected for the award because of his dedication to this police department, his dedication to our tactical unit, his dedication to our training unit, his dedication to supervising our young men and women that work here. The man himself was respected by everybody in this building.
Boy, subject down. Unknown corner.
We went out of state training together, and we really got to sit down and talk about the future of this department and how we wanted to train these new officers and our seasoned officers to give them the best quality training and best, most efficient time usage to make sure that they're prepared to do the job.
His personality made him the right person to train anybody in anything. I mean, he took his job serious, but not so much that it wasn't a pleasure to be taught something by him.
He was able to train, for one. It's not easy to get in front of people and instruct, but he has the ability to criticize people too and tell them how to correct their behavior, but also just get the message across while keeping them motivated, not discouraged. He was really good at having those difficult conversations.
You know, he never beating on his chest, letting everyone know he was in charge or anything like that. He was a team player and wanted to get the job done.
He always came at you with a level head, wasn't yelling at you, screaming at you, saying, you know, no, we got to do it this way. It was always very even-keeled and easy to understand.
We lost a true leader. You know, Dan led, you know, very quietly, but he always carried a big stick.
I think he mentored his shift quite a bit. You know, he would sit them down and he'd talk to officers and really try to connect on a level and not kind of berate them. Like just point out things to them on a rational basis instead of taking a more aggressive approach to it. And I think that's where he shined the most.
Ready? We got one straight across. Need a shield left. Ready?
If I could say one thing to Dan, I'd say thank you, because he went above and beyond to make sure that this department was prepared.
He'll forever be missed. That's it. Yeah, you can't replace him.
We had something very important to do on Monday night, and that was to pay tribute to Sergeant Daniel Cammerzell, who we lost on November 5th, 2022, tragically. How do you think we did?
Well, everything that we did that night, you know, was for Sergeant Cammerzell's family, and they were there.
A round of applause for the Cammerzell family, please.
And you know, the work that that Stacy did with Shelby Cable and what they put together was extraordinary. I mean, it's you know, it's one of those things for the family. I'm sure you even I believe made mention that it would be a difficult night, but but also a good night for them. And after talking to Mrs. Cammerzell and some of her family, I'm sure it was very difficult, but it was something that I think that they really, really appreciated. It's the first time that we've had to deal with something like that, and there's no script for something when you lose an officer, and it was. I know that it was tough for our agency. Dan was incredible here, and that's why it was as difficult as it was. But the flip side of that is it was great that we were there to be able to be there for the family. And I think that there was also them being there for us. And mutually going through a difficulty is made easier when you're surrounded with your loved ones and friends. And I think to that, the award ceremony and what we did for Sergeant Cammerzell and his family, I think that was helpful for everyone.
Hello, I'm Lieutenant Beth Walsh, and we are B Platoon, Dan's platoon, and we're here to honor him for Command Officer of the Year.
Dan was exceptional. He depicted strength and was our platoon's moral compass.
He worked tirelessly every day with dignity and honor.
Let's take a moment to celebrate Sergeant Dan Cammerzell.
We have the producer of this show, Stacy Bell, has been working with our police department since I became chief 99 months ago. She's built great relationships around the police department with different people, and frankly, our officers trust her. And Stacy is the person that I think the best words for me to use here is she makes our police department look great. And she was the one that put together the tribute video to him. I don't think there was a dry eye in the house when it was playing. Taylor came up after and saying, "God bless America," just to put a stamp on a night that, hey, Sergeant Cammerzell family, we appreciate you, we value you, you will be with us forever. And I think that's what the message we did with the help of Stacy. And she was a recipient of a special award also on Monday night.
When she said she put something together for us, you don't know exactly what it is, but at the very beginning, and then we got to preview that video before the awards ceremony, and it was just perfect. It was just a fantastic celebration of Dan and his influence on our officers, on our department, and I'm sure the family was, well, I know that they thought it was incredible. Our guys, our officers were well taken care of in that video, and I think accurately reflected Dan's influence and how we loved him.
I agree. Very well said. Great job by Shelby TV highlighting our night. This is the Super Bowl for our police department, our awards banquet, and we want to thank Shelby TV. They do a wonderful job. Captain Barnard, moving over to the state of the department right now, our current affairs, what would you like to mention to our residents?
Well, we're in a position now to reach our allotment of 82 officers. We've been after that for a number of years, and right now the academy is in session. We have 2 officers that are attending the academy out in Oakland right now. We also have 2 lateral transfer hires that will be coming in the door in the next couple of weeks. That's going to be really, really helpful, to take advantage of their experience and what they bring from their prior jobs here to Shelby Township. We're also just finished up cadet interviews, so we're going to be adding to our cadet numbers here in the next couple of weeks. So we're in a good spot. We're very quickly approaching what our whole goal was the entire time, and it will be great to finally be able to reach it.
Yeah, we've been chasing this for about 4 years now.
Yeah, we have.
And retirements and stuff unexpected, we just can't get caught up. But I think overall we've done a really good job. And in my opinion, what has saved us was the cadet program, what you're in charge of.
The cadet program, we have. It was really good. At the award ceremony, we recognized the 5-year mark for our officers, and interesting enough, that was our original hires into the cadet program that made up a great deal of that 5-year mark for those officers. So it was good to see that. And we certainly have used that program to identify, those that we think would be a great complement to our police department. It's worked out really well for us.
I agree, and you're doing a great job. You and Ron Mix running the
thank you.
program, so thank you. During the awards ceremony, I saw a couple of our detectives went out the door. What was that about?
That was in response to our Home Depot up on 26 Mile. It was part of what eventually became known as a arrest for organized retail fraud. At the time, we didn't know it, but when we got there, the suspects in that incident had already left. But Officer Lauren Wise was able to locate the suspect vehicle up on 53, put a stop on that vehicle, and arrests were made. And getting into it, we recovered over $15,000 of merchandise that was stolen just from the vehicle. And then getting into it even more, it became apparent that this crew was responsible for a number of different thefts across not only different jurisdictions here in Michigan, but also outside the state of Michigan. In total, it looks like they were responsible for over $275,000 in thefts at these Home Depots across several states. And that it's another great example of if Officer Weiss didn't come across that car, we're going to close a number of different cases because of it. And her going out and searching and hunting for that car and actually finding it, let alone the stop and the arrest, that's a huge deal. And because of it, Home Depot is going to get their property back, and a number of these cases are obviously going to be closed out.
I smile when you mention her name. I think she grew up in the middle of nowhere, and I know she was a basketball player. And from the minute she walked in the door here, she's like God's gift to Shelby Township residents. I know when she was a cadet, she had like 3 or 4 big incidences she was involved in,
right off the bat.
Yeah, she ended up getting awards. I think she got like 3 Chiefs coins from me for doing job as a cadet. Then she comes out on the road. She's running into burning buildings and saving people. She's running into houses and saving people that are choking and dying. And she's out here, taking down this big, ring of bad guys, these criminals, these I should say like national criminals, and she's something else. She's
Lauren or Officer Weiss, her father is a retired detective out of our department, and I talk to him every now and again. I always give him an update on how Lauren's doing, and I'm sure that he's incredibly proud of her and her accomplishments. And that it's not even that she's been here a short time anymore. She's actually a veteran officer, and she's out there every day looking for things and getting involved. And people that are out there, officers that are out there looking for things, typically find them. And you string that over a number of years, let alone a career, and that's a huge influence on our township.
Yeah, I'm very impressed with the young officer, and I'm cheering her on from the sidelines.
Yeah.
You've been watching Straight Talk. We highlighted our annual award ceremony. We hope you enjoy the footage from Shelby TV, and we will see you next month.
Remember to subscribe to the Shelby TV YouTube channel and click the notification bell to get updates on all Shelby TV content.